This segment of Delmarva Life is brought to you by Layton's Chance Vineyard and Winery.
Well, when most people want a glass of wine, they'll just buy a bottle and pop it open and enjoy.
But have you ever thought about making your own wine? For some people, it may be out of the realm of possibility. But the truth is, it can be as easy as you want it to be.
Brian Spyrus paid a visit to Layton's Chance Vineyard and Winery in Vienna to find out what's involved in the process.
People have been drinking wine for thousands of years, and while you can buy a bottle of it just about anywhere, there are a growing number of people who enjoy making their own wine.
It's one of the best parts of my job as a winemaker is that a lot of those people bring their homemade wine to me to try. I enjoy that. They enjoy it, but there's a lot of people that have an interest in that, and a lot of people that have an interest in asking me, how do I make wine? How do I get started? What do I do with that?
William Layton is the winemaker at Layton's Chance Vineyard and Winery in Vienna. We asked him to show us how you can make your own wine at home.
Winemaking is as easy or as difficult as you'd like it to be. They made wine for thousands of years before they ever understood how or what they were doing. So at its simplest, you can add yeast and let it ferment and sit for a little bit and drink it.
Sure, you can start with a grape press and go from there with all the squeezing, but we can make this even easier. William says just go ahead and buy grape juice from the grocery store and start from there.
All right, so as we said, people can make their own wine simply by using grape juice that you buy at the store. Once you have the grape juice, what's the first step?
The first step is to take it from that container and put it in a larger container. You can go ahead and start working on that. But the reason is that when the yeast are fermenting, they produce carbon dioxide, so the juice is going to bubble. And if you've got it too full, it's going to bubble over and overflow. And I've even done that in my tanks. It can be quite the mess when you come in the morning and there's juice just everywhere.
All right, so we poured our grape juice into the jug. What's the next step?
Well, the next thing is adding the yeast, but before you can add it to the jug, you have to rehydrate it, which just means bringing it back to life. We're going to add it to water. You get warm water, basically about as warm as you can get out of the sink, and you add it to that. The yeast is freeze-dried, so yeast is a living creature, so you bring it back to life in this warm water so that it can start fermenting in the jug. And we're going to leave it there for about 20 minutes to let it get rehydrated and kind of get its energy back up.
The fermenting process is crucial. This is when the yeast will eat the sugar in the juice and turn it into alcohol.
You want to set it somewhere that's not too cold, not too hot. It'll probably take it somewhere around 2 weeks, and you want to let it set aside and just do that without bothering it for a couple weeks. And then there's a couple ways that you can tell once you get finished with fermentation that it's finished at that point.
Some of those methods include using a hydrometer, which measures the water, sugar, alcohol level. You can also place a balloon over the top of the jug. It will inflate and then deflate when fermenting has finished. Or go by sight. Once the grape juice stops bubbling over the 2-week period, it's done. Then William says you can begin racking. That's when you move the juice from one container to another to let all the yeast and sediment settle. From that point, you want to seal the container, either using an airlock, or you can open the lid briefly every few days to let the oxygen out. Either way, the wine needs to sit for a few months before you can drink it. If this is the route you want to take, Layton's Chance will get you started. They have pre-measured ingredients available at no charge.
We've got yeast and a little bit of that starter that we use for the yeast nutrients, and we'll have packets of that. They can come in here, pick some of that up, and give it a try on their own. And I certainly encourage anybody. It's a great hobby. It's fun to do.
And William says there are other ways to go about making your own wine as well.
For the beginning winemaker, there are kits that they can buy. And they will have everything pre-packaged and ready to go. Everything that you would need to add to the wine, everything that you would need to do to it.
For William, he's learned everything he knows about winemaking. He's fine-tuned the process over time and has even gotten more adventurous with different fruits, a level he says anyone can get to if they so choose.
It's one of the great things, I guess, with any hobby, that it's easy to start. At its simplest, it's very easy to get into, but there's so much to learn and do with it from then on that it can take you a lifetime to learn all of it and how to do it.
And speaking of becoming adventurous, Layton's Chance is known for its watermelon wine. In September, they'll be coming out with a strawberry wine.
Now, again, if you want to try your hand at winemaking, you can pick up the appropriate yeast at the winery in Vienna.
And now that we've learned how to make wine at home, How fun would it be to pair it up with an afternoon picnic? We're in the kitchen next making a summertime picnic recipe.
Plus, all month we've been introducing you to the adorable and loving animals here on Delmarva that are looking for a new home. We'll meet a few more of the available furry friends in just a little bit. But first, we've got a seat waiting for you in the Delmarva Life studio audience. Come be a part of the fun in the historic Studio D. Book your seat by visiting delmarvalife.com and clicking on the show tab. Or you see that number right there? Give us a call, 443-880-9116. Delmarva Life will be right back.